cultural sites throughout the reservation and Aboriginal territories are further evidence of our history and customs.
Melting ice patches and glaciers in alpine and high-latitude environments can reveal archaeological and paleobiological discoveries. These fragile items quickly deteriorate if left exposed to the elements, animals, or collectors. Glacier National Park, famously home to ice patches and glaciers, is important to Native Americans with ancient links to these landscapes. The park and surrounding areas continue to be important to tribes for hunting, gathering, ceremonies, and stories. The coordinated efforts of Native American tribes, land managers, and archaeologists to address receding ice and snow is providing insights into the impacts of climate change. The ice patches as sources of archaeological and paleobiological data in climate change research in Glacier National Park took place over 4 years. This involved partnerships that synergized knowledge between the different participants.
The greatest success of the program really came in the fact that it raised public awareness of this ice patch phenomena in the lower 48. It was on the radar of folks in Alaska, on the radar of not only the National Park Service, but also Native people.
The tribes were there from the very beginning. They were part of the project from the very start.
People who are thinking about these problems not as necessarily as an archaeologist bring sort of insights to it that I often find myself saying, I should have thought of that.
It wasn't that we started doing this project and then brought the tribes in as an afterthought, which is something that happened to archaeologists in the past and still happens some today. And so this project was done the way it should be done, with bringing tribes in from the beginning.
The overall objectives were to work collaboratively to investigate and document ice snow patches in glacier, to identify archaeological, ethnographic, and paleobiological resources endangered by climate change, and to recover data relevant to global warming research. To work collaboratively with the Confederated Salish and Kootenai tribes and Blackfeet Nation to develop and implement culturally appropriate protections and conservation measures for sensitive areas. To enhance the cultural resource stewardship and protections at Glacier through public interpretation about climate change impacts on cultural resources and indigenous communities. To develop strategy and methodology for assessing and mitigating impacts to those resources from ice-snow field recession that can serve as a model for other parks, agencies, and entities in the U.S. and worldwide.
Yeah, this is some remains of a bison that we recovered from an ice patch at about 7,000 feet in the park. I have to admit I was quite impressed with my colleague on this project, Craig Lee, because we were walking by this, and he had apparently already seen a little bit of the bone sticking up out of the ground. I came over by him and I said, "Oh, there's some bone here," and Craig said, "Oh yeah, it's a bison." And there was just this little scrap of bone sticking up out of the ground, and I said, "How does he know that's a bison?" But he was right. As soon as we got down from the field, and I mean as soon as we got back to within cell phone range, we notified the park that we had this bison skull, and we had debated whether we could remove it, and we decided that it was okay. The tribal folks eventually looked at it and they said, yeah, they also thought that it was not a ritual item. the age of the bison is almost 1,000 years old. It's a male, and it's a young male. We can tell from a variety of features.
The last season of field work took place in 2013 and included ice coring on Sai Pass.
On this last trip, we were able to put some cores down into one of the ice patches, the one up on Sai Pass. And taking the cores out of that ice patch, we're able to see some organic, what are called lag deposits. When these ice patches, as they're growing, they're capturing all sorts of organic material. Sticks that may fall down from the hillside up above, and leaves that blow into the ice patch, and animal feces from the critters that sit on the patches. We could predict from the topography that we would hit bottom at about 6.5 meters. And that's when we think we hit bottom. And we think it was bottom because we couldn't drill any deeper. And the last sample that came out of that was full of sediment and lots of organic material. We were able to identify that organic material and get a date from the very bottom of that core, 6.5 meters down below the surface of the snow. One of those pieces that we dated was a piece of animal poop, probably bighorn sheep or mountain goat. And we dated half of that, and we've got the other half left here. And that little piece of poop there is about 6,500 years old.
Big positive take-home from the project is that it raised the awareness level of this ice patch research beyond where it had been. Even though we'd done some little bits and pieces here in Yellowstone and in Rocky Mountain, it just was not of the same scale or scope. And again, I think the success there is that, yeah, it raised everybody's awareness of it, and then obviously that we had the involvement of the tribal people with it too.
The program has been a success in the sense that we've done what we said we were going to do. We went out to survey ice patches, and we did that. Developed a protocol for the park. We're developing the video and the online website and associated materials. So that's all a success. It was, of course, disappointing that we didn't find any archaeology associated with the patches. And there could be a couple of reasons for that. One reason is that before this project began, in the early 2000s, we had some very warm, dry winters, and these ice patches shrunk considerably. It looked like a good time for us to go do ice patch archaeology, because as those patches shrink, that's when they dump stuff out in their forefields down slope. Unfortunately, as soon as the project began, we had very severe winters. I think the winter of 2010-11 was 250% snowfall. And it's of course disappointing not to find archaeology. You want to, but it's not really a failure, because if it's not there, it's really actually useful for us to know that there isn't any archaeology associated with these ice patches, because then it then does raise the question, why not? If we find it associated with ice patches in other parts of the world, why not here? We can go down to Yellowstone and see that there are materials associated with ice patches there. There is up in the Yukon. Why not in Glacier? So it's not really a failure. It's another piece of evidence. It's what we might call negative evidence, But when we look at it in the bigger picture, in the bigger global picture, we can learn something from that. It's useful to know where humans were doing things, but also where humans were not doing things in the past.
You know, I feel like I've been able to hopefully help and bring some positive things to the tribal folks too, both at Salish and Kootenai, and then also with Blackfeet Nation. You asked about another highlight. Maybe I think one would be, we did find, even in the absence of not finding archaeological material, we did find paleobiological material, and paleobiological material, I think, helps people to see that there is a real ice patch resource in Glacier that was not on the radar of the folks in the park. So in terms of in those resources that we did find, the paleobiological material, that would be things like the wood that we've done the species identifications on, things like drilling the ice core and being able to extract various lags and identifying that, for instance, in Sai Pass, that ice formed roughly 6,000 years ago. Those are real contributions to our understanding of the park.
It's important to remember that no project occurs in a vacuum. No project is an island, you might say. And the real importance of the information is its relationship to the information that other people have collected in other places. So the information we have from these ice patches by itself means one thing, and combined with the information from all the other ice patches will mean a whole lot more.
This project moves the conversation beyond prescribed consultation to true collaboration between equal partners. The Confederated Salish and Kootenai tribes and the Blackfeet Nation have provided invaluable resources.
This project is important to the Blackfeet people because the glaciers are a significant part of our tribal ethnicity and history.
The development of culturally appropriate protocols to recover and protect endangered objects, burial items, and other culturally sensitive materials were an unprecedented step in the development of a tribally approved process with a clear set of rules.
Cultural resources are the Confederated and Salish and Kootenai tribes of the Flathead Reservation most precious resources.
The major interpretive creation for the project is a website that contains major sections on the project, including background, the science of ice patches, partner statements, tribal perspectives, a massive image gallery, and links to ice patch research worldwide. There's also a page with content for children. You can view the Ice Patch Project website at
languages, songs, dances, prayers, ceremonies, hunting, high tanning, beading, fishing, plant gathering, food and medicine preparations, feasts or storytelling are still being done today. Smek for snow and skoyim for ice. Kakolkolman be the tools we use.
We have songs, origin stories, sacred teepees, as well as plants, birds, and animals in our bundles that come from the Rocky Mountains. Climate change has affected our landscape, so we are happy to contribute to this project that addresses common scientific and tribal concerns for our valuable and irreplaceable resources. In Blackfeet, mountains are Nistakgeeks, snow, Gunskoy, and we say cold in Blackfeet, Istoi, Istoi.
Akwit ako, that's a sound of ice cracking. Ku'uis aktmaknik, that's an occupation site of the people. Niskuts up is an arrowhead. Protection of these irreplaceable resources is essential for sustaining the cultures